Okay. Well, this is the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, Kingston, Jamaica. This is our healing service, and I'm welcoming one and all. And right now, especially Sandra, Vance, and Carol. Welcome to this healing service. I am Sonia Davidson, I'm staff minister at our church, and I am really looking forward to interacting with you guys this evening. So as usual, we begin everything with prayer. And so allow me and join me as I affirm the power and presence. God, the living Spirit Almighty, the one power, the one presence, the one life, that which has yielded of itself to its creation, that which has given each one of us its life, and yet continues to live itself in unboundedness throughout all nature, all creation. That which has given the power and authority to speak a word, that which has created this opportunity called the internet, so that we may gather, interact, experience itself through each other, love each other, embrace each other. And so I know that this experience we call a healing service, a divine idea in the mind of God, continues to reveal itself in the deepest way for our transformation. Everyone who speaks feels the power and authority of being the mind and the word of God, the messenger of God. So I know this meeting is harmonious. It is candid. It is open. It truly is one which announces the presence and the power and the love of God. It is that peace which now reveals itself in these moments of silence. As we take a few moments just to be aware of the blessing that comes from this gift we call life and the opportunity in this moment. We become still. We are still. We are the peace of God made manifest. We embrace it. We feel it. And we are grateful. And so it is. So it is. Well, friends, everyone, I am sure we are getting into that frame of mind for a long holiday weekend coming up, in which we will reflect on our lives, our spiritual path, or journey in truth, or we will just sleep and do whatever Spirit guides us to do. And I know for everyone, a wonderful weekend. I don't know what we want to call it, an Easter weekend, Holy Weekend. It's all holy, all wholesome. And so I know as part of my preparation, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I think this thinking, we think all the time, but this thinking for me really preceded my last birthday, where I was doing a lot of gratitude, not necessarily writing it down. You know, I've promised myself, as our class has promised itself, to do journaling specifically where it comes to gratitude. Whenever I attempt to reflect on my life, I automatically go into gratitude mode, because there are so many, I would say, before I understood how the law worked, so many what I call magical moments and just awesome experiences, which at the time, before I came into truth, I didn't seek to explain concretely. Before I go into the topic, specifics of the topic this evening, which is, if God is law, then where is love? Well, both of my parents died within 6 weeks of each other. In 1964, there was no preparation. As far as I was concerned, the only will that was there was a will that was written like years before. So there was no formal preparation. They were 57 years old. So you'd think, well, maybe, the 57 those days might have made you wanted to start thinking about organizing yourself. But there was nothing like that. And so for years, there was no, I was preparing. I was 19, preparing for medical school, and I found myself in Canada at the time. And I chose to come back to Jamaica. There is the impulse in me that said, after I had finished all the stuff that one do, Thanksgiving services and everything, and my brother was going back to Canada, and I was preparing, thinking I was going back to Canada, and then something just said, no, you're staying here. Now, of course, I had to give myself an excuse, because why would you want to stay? There is nobody here. My brothers were not here. There's no close relative. And even then, there was no confirmation that I had received a scholarship to UWI. But having taken that decision that I was going to stay here and not knowing where I was going to live, because my house is in St. Anne's Bay, didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know where I would have the money to go to medical school, and neither did I have any relatives who I cared to go to live with, but even if I did, they would be living in the country. But once that decision was taken, everything seemed to fall into place. Remember, at that time, I did not know anything about how the power of the mind works. Everything fell into place. I was offered a scholarship. I was taken by someone who was a relative. And years later, I was in a daze. So years later, somebody informed me that it was her father that drove me from St. Anne's Bay to the university and left me there. That took place. Everything was paid for those days. Your scholarship paid for everything. You got food, you got board, except in holidays, you'd have to fend for yourself. That's another adventure that I won't even speak about. So years later, looking back, I realized that a decision that I had taken at 3 years old to go to medical school, the support in my parents' minds that were certain I was going to go to medical school. When I was in Canada, I was not in medical school. I was in a preparatory thing. My decision to come back to Jamaica was part of the journey towards going to medical school in a way that I had the support of my parents, who were no longer in physical form, but they had declared it. And I had declared it at the age of 3 that I would be a doctor. Okay. You see, I am coming to a point where, although in my early adult years, I had given up the notion of there being a God. But the law of mind works as the way God works. And it was only years later that I understood that I did not have to coerce any God. I did not have to make a ritual about anything. I did not have to pray and beseech, nor did I have to give up, because all of those ideas were already in train 16 years before I went to medical school, and years of my parents agreeing with my intention to become a doctor. I never thought about it in any depth, but I realized that the law of mind is the way God works, and the way God works is to correspond to what my desire, intention, clear intention was. It did not question. It did not say she didn't believe in me, because God is not a personality, and God does not need praise, and God does not need approval. God is principle, and that principle works for you according to what you give to it. Okay. Following me so far? Okay. I am sure each one of us have had experiences where spontaneously, without setting out deliberately to achieve a particular goal, we have desired and decided that's what we're going to do. And then the way opened up. But yes, I learned later on, early in my science of mind teaching, and that's attracted me to it. In fact, before I actually came to the church, there was a man who passed by our house and very excitedly told us about this woman who said that all he had to do in order to get out of the financial rut he was in was to recite the 23rd Psalm several times per day. That was Reverend Elmo. And I said, that sounds, a little bit strange, right? However, I didn't query it because he said he had been doing it and everything had changed for him. So I said, okay, believe, kill, and believe, cure. Okay, it's working for you fine. So when later on, when I did meet the science of mind, my first encounter with it, in my practicing it, was when I was given the assignment that this is what you do. These are the words that you say, right? God is all there is. I am one with God. Therefore, my desire for, don't remember what it was then, is already accomplished, because God being all there is, God appears in my life as this thing. No, remember, as more than skeptical, I said, okay, I'm a science student, and if that's what they say I should do in order to get the experience that I wanted, I can do it, because when I'm doing my science experiment, nobody tells me what the outcome is. They say, mix this and mix that, and this is the result that you get, right? So I was open in that sense, and it was helpful that I was that open, not necessarily expecting one thing or the other, but open in obedience. And I think that is one of the things that I learned later on with the science of mind, is an innocent obedience, not judging what is going on, how you should be, how you should think. That is how the law works. You state it and you innocently leave it to happen. No, things started to happen, and I was so enthralled by it. I got absorbed in the fact that, oh, okay, I can do this and get that. I can say this. No, I can say this and get that. And for a long time, I was so caught up in the law that I forgot that the law is how God works. And therefore, I was looking away from the experience of godness. I was more using the law for the purpose of acquiring things and sorting out situations. Specific of this, I don't remember now. But the good thing is about the way you use the law and the way you understand it, that it expresses for you according to what you are actually thinking and believing. It's not just your words, where you're putting your attention, because I managed to trace back my experiences to how I was thinking logically, even before I actually understood it deeply. I was spontaneously looking. So this morning, I got up and I was irritated by something. Driving down the road, and I got a puncture, or I got some delay. And whenever I was thinking in a particular way, it was corresponded to that way. So what did I do? So if Sonia wants to be happy all the while, which most of the time I grew up as a happy child, then I allow myself to be in that happy state. I have a lot of experience with being happy. So why not put my attention on happiness? And I did that because I had a memory of it. I knew how to be it. And I noticed that all kind of happy things just started, happy experiences on the outer, things that would confirm and reaffirm my happiness started to take place. And later on, I realized that if I really wanted to feel the curiosity that I have about this power that I said, that's doing all this work, I need to spend time thinking about it, being with it. Fortunately, I discovered meditation. It was introduced to me by Dr. L. Longstein. And in meditation, it is where you become so in the moment that you just experience the moment. It's much more than that. But I learned how to train my mind to put it where I wanted it to be. And I wanted more and more to be in that presence. Remember, my parents are gone. I wanted to be in that presence of feeling loved, feeling connected and intimate with a power. I didn't call it a power, with a presence, with something that I was so intimate with. And I did my meditation, but I spent more and more time feeling the need to look around me and see that everything I see is so magical. The stars, the skies, everything has come from a presence. And then I heard in my mind that which gave me the power to use my mind to create experiences for myself. The freedom to create experience for myself gave the greatest gift that could have been given to mankind. It was given to me. Is that love beyond? To give of yourself unstintingly, the power, the authority in any moment to create for yourself what you wanted to experience. And then I started to feel the warmth and love. I started to feel the closeness and the intimacy, and I wanted to spend more and more time just feeling the godness, just feeling that there is this awesome, giving, loving, whatever, right? After a while, I didn't call it anything. And then I started to feel grateful. And so it meant that I decided I would spend one of my early birthdays after coming into truth. Just say I'd spend an hour giving thanks. I spent an entire day. I went at 10:30 and I didn't leave until 4 o'clock. My heart was just pouring out with gratitude for every single thing here and there that I could find. And there was a shift in me in consciousness then, a shift where over the years, I just feel more and more. I feel an indescribable love. My parents had died over the time. My brothers had died, and then I met my husband, and the circumstances in which I met him, the law of mine was in action, but I know my heart was open at the time. So if I look back, and I'm sure each of us here, when we look back, we can see that when our hearts, our minds are in a space of sweetness, sweet things happen to us. So the connection that I have made in my mind is that there is not law, right, and love. It is the law acting as love, and the love finding its a way to honor the law. It is one. But my gift to myself and my gift to anyone that I meet is that this presence, this awesome presence, which created everything, created each one of us to express that which is its true nature, which is love. But it did it in a way that gave us the authority to choose how we would want that love to express. And we, therefore, have been given the greatest love of all. And I, therefore, sit each day just not only feeling grateful, but feeling the presence to the extent that I invited to do the most, what I would have hitherto called the most trivial of things, like invited, as if it is my bona fide friend, which it is. Pick this dress for me, choose this path, do that. So I speak to it knowing that it is me, it is God in me as me. So there's no duality there. But I'm speaking to the presence of God as me, and life has been a truly wonderful experience. It allows me to know that what I know for myself, I know for other people as well. So when I see maybe a reaction from others that may not correspond exactly to how I would want them to feel or act towards me, I feel honored that such a person would choose me to be able to let off steam, knowing that in my heart, I know it's the presence of God in them that is finding its way to project its way into their life in whatever way is necessary, even if the behavior at the moment does not seem so. I feel honored, and I go into a moment quick because I've practiced it so often. I go into a moment of quiet, even in the midst of my speaking, but preferably in the midst of my silence, where I feel God speaking to me through this, whoever it is that I encounter, whether it's someone here or someone on the internet who I don't know, because most of the things that make me feel uncomfortable are things that I might turn upon the internet. And I feel that by feeling the presence of God, that I am invoking the law, which will allow the love which I'm feeling in my heart to create transformative experiences for those persons. So that is my connection. Where is the love? The love has always been with us. The love is who we are. The love is the presence of God made manifest. And that love will elaborately allow ourselves to experience it at a higher level. It will allow us who we are connected with everyone that is, to allow that love to expand in ripples and embrace wherever we place our attention. And so we may truly become those persons who are part of the conscious and deliberate raising up, lifting up of the collective experience of God's presence on the planet, and join those who consciously and deliberately invoke the presence of love, so that the law of might may bring it into the hearts and minds of the individual and collective experience of mankind. I know with all my heart that we are all here in this teaching. We are all here on this planet as part of a great, great, great opportunity to bring in an age which is filled with love, filled with light, because we can consciously and deliberately turn within and allow this law of God, the way God works, to speak through us, to think through us, to feel through us, to act through us, to experience itself through us. We just need to allow ourselves the time at any time, a dedicated time, but a moment in time to turn within when our feelings deny the presence of love. And that's my word, and I'm sticking to it. And I would like to ask, yes, I know I've spoken at length, but I'd like to ask others who are here, I see Sandy, I see Vance, right? And anybody else, to share their experience with the law, expanding the law within themselves, their appreciation of the love. Come on, share. Is there a question that anybody wants to ask me about what I've said about love? Is it what you have experienced yourself? I'm not going to rest until somebody answers me. I'm here. Jeannie, how does the law show up in your life as love? Wow. And you know, I asked you, it's sacred service. Love shows up in your life so often as sacred service. So much. How do you feel with it when the sacred service is taking place through you? Do you always feel the way that I think you feel? How does it feel? Just tell me. I'm not going to guide you into what to say. I picked on you first. I'm coming.
Carol Campbell and is up, remember.
I can't see it.
Okay.
I can't see it. Okay.
Well,
Oh, help me, guys, because I can't see it on my thing. Okay. All right, Carol, I'm coming to you after Jeannie. Yes.
No problem.
I'm just motivated from maybe, as you are saying, it's the love within. It's not something that I consciously, I mean, not something that I consciously say, oh, I'm going to do this. I am just motivated to do what I do. And it brings me, and I do it in a very, I don't, in a very behind the scenes way. I don't like people to know that I am doing this thing. I just do it because I am guided and motivated to do it. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that is the love within that is demonstrated that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you feel it. And
yes.
Do you feel other people feeling you doing it too?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Carol. Yeah. I can see now. I fixed my computer. Yes, Carol.
Okay. I'm just curious that every time this question is asked, the answer is always outer directed, and the question is about how does love show up for you, Russell? Or the question didn't go.
Yes, yeah. Yes, for you, not necessarily outwardly in your whole life. How you experience it.
Yes, and I think there is nothing wrong with showing yourself love. But it's almost as if every time the subject comes up of showing love, it must be love you must be showing to somebody else.
Oh, I love that you brought up this.
Yes.
I love it. Go on. I'm glad you brought up this.
And I think it is of paramount importance that you love yourself first.
Exactly.
Love yourself as well, so that when you are filled, you can give from a full cup.
That's right. Can't give what you don't have. You
Precisely.
can't give what you don't have and don't know.
Yes.
Exactly. But sometimes you're just giving it and you don't even know you're giving it by your very presence.
Yeah.
Just turning up. You're in the supermarket and you're just handling something and somebody comes up and responds to you. The action that the person is taking is not necessarily the love itself, but the impulse that a person has to do a particular thing, right? Or to not do it. It is when you're in that space of love, remember, there are no boundaries and people are benefiting from it, whether you know or not. And so are you. So are you.
Exactly.
I agree. I'm glad that you said that, right? And it's not that you don't have love, because we all have it. But when we practice, right, feeling the presence, which is love, it must find a way, to come out so that you can acknowledge another person. And even in times when you just walk by and a smile or nothing, no outer. Somebody, you have to believe you cannot be walking in a space of love. And you say it for yourself. There's no little self. There's a big self, which is trusting this at you, right? And let me tell you, love, sometimes when you love, you feel the love bubbling up. Don't you just shiver? It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it's just
there.
Yes.
Expressing.
through you.
Expressing,
Yeah.
right.
But sometimes it come out like a shoot of, you know, you have to say, sit down, so there, right? And it's not, there's no target for it, right? I used to long ago, a few years ago, I've learned to control myself. I used to kiss, you know, I'm kissing God, where are you? You know, no, I think I've grown a little bit there, but it's oh gosh, it's a feeling. I know a friend of mine who just guided me to you has another way of expressing love. Yvonne Carty, just I watch the club, you know, you help me to watch the club, but I really want to hear from, because the people who are gathered there, I know will have found powerful ways to express that love, because I bear witness to it. I feel it, and I've seen the action. Because, you know, love will come out in action too, you know, right? You know, fool yourself, but you can have the action and the love is not there, right? But, in the sense that you would want it, you're doing it dutifully or doing it to attract some sort of reward to
But then
oneself.
that's not really love, that is bargaining. So
Or yes, yes, you're right. But at least you see there, it is born of a desire to experience it. So once the desire is there, the law will eventually, maybe it's through a few hard knocks, but eventually will take us to that conscious, that's awareness that
Yeah.
you have, right? That's why I say I love the law, right? Because anyway, you turn the law. If you use it consciously or not consciously, but with a desire to experience something, and persistent desire, it will come about, right? It will come about, it will bring about. So if we use it, right, because everybody wants to feel love and friendship and, you know, whatever. If we are attentive to that feeling, that experience, and if, look, man, everybody has experienced love in their life once, right? Everybody, in the deep way that you want. Bring that to mind, and it will draw to us, the law will draw to us the experiences that correspond to that feeling that we are nurturing in that moment. So, Yvonne Carty, I want to hear from you, because she invent love. Come on, Kat. Come on. And I come into Santa
Well,
Alex, you know. Oh, okay. So
the love that I feel within kind of gives me a sense of freedom and power. And if we understand, but I suppose when we understand, those who will understand will understand.
Yes, Yvonne. Yes. And when, you know, one of the things that I didn't say, boy, there's so much to say about this love. As we grow in the use of the law, as we grow in understanding our connection with Source, our attention, just an empathy and compassion and caring, extend beyond the borders of our own self. Yes, I know we have to love ourselves first, that's true. But the more that love for ourselves, the awareness of the love for ourselves grows, the more we are aware of who and what we are in the presence of God, is the more we become interested in the welfare of others who we don't even know. And I picked on Yvonne because for several weeks, I know her life has been reaching out to others who are not necessarily related to her. And I know it's the journey of truth and love that has made, I sorry to embarrass you even if I do, but I always remember you as a spirit of universal love, really light bearer in that sense, caring about and for. You not only care about, you're impelled to action to include people who you don't know, right? And as we grow spiritually, our attention and love takes, the boundaries of it just expands and expands and expands. Sandra, you have been a devoted, caring human being, I know.
And what do you want me to ask?
No, do you have any comments there? Because we know a little bit about your devotion, your experience of love in your own self and your own heart. then I'm going to ask after. Sandra, if
You know, one of the
anybody else?
things that Reverend Elma said many, many years ago is that the practice of truth is simple, but it's not
Yes.
easy.
Yes.
Today I was in a workshop and we were having a similar conversation about love and the value of love, what it means and how we allow it to manifest in our lives. And yes, you're in love with your mother, father, sister, brother, child, and husband and spouse and so on. However, what happens when you feel that somebody has done you wrong? What happens when you feel hurt or the experience of being the victim of a situation?
Yes, yes.
What do we do? What do you think? How
Yes.
do we allow the value
Yes.
of love
Yes,
to
yes, yes.
move? Yeah.
Tell us.
It is a
because,
challenge. It is
yes,
a challenge, you know. So,
yes.
and that's where
yes.
the quote unquote difficulty lies, you know.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
yeah,
How
it's
you work with it?
sometimes not easy. What do I do?
Yes.
I watch TV and go to sleep, and then the next
That's
morning,
a start.
the next morning is always it's all the answers, the resolution, the driver to make a different choice always comes in the morning.
Yes.
So I trust
yes.
my morning experience.
Yes. When we did In Tune with the Infinite, they advise us to put your intention before you go to sleep, right? And your subconscious mind will work on it while you sleep. In Tune with the Infinite. That was a wonderful book. I recommend it. Yes, I understand where you are. I have numerous experiences that would have allowed me to feel like a victim. One of the things that I learned very early, maybe as early as I was introduced to the science of mind, is that every human being is after either escaping from pain or moving towards an experience of pleasure. And therefore, underlying all of that, this is on the world, on the surface now, underlying that is the one power, which we call love, which is seeking to experience itself, right? So whenever anybody acts in a way that I would want to take on as my pain, instantly, my mind is so practiced in that. Nobody intentionally sets out to hurt you as their primary motive for acting. It is really, yes, okay. It is really about them trying to find their pleasure or move away from their pain. And therefore, I have found it easier to prevent myself from taking things personally, but it comes from years and years of practicing it. And it has great rewards because the very soul that has done something which you find hurtful becomes a beautiful expression in your life. Because remember, everybody comes. The law works that way. The law works to bring you the lessons that you need in order to go up higher. So every experience that I have had that I have been able to transcend has made me feel stronger, more in charge, and freer, right, than before. And as you said, Sandra, it's simple, it's straightforward, but it's not easy. But the ease comes in knowing how to use the mind. Knowing that if you use your mind in a particular way, the law of mind stands ready to produce what you want. And to be vigilant with it. You can't fight emotions. Emotions are there to tell you what you believe. It is like the red light in a motor car that says you need gas, you need oil. You don't turn it off, you don't curse the light. You don't do nothing like that. You say thank you. And as we were, Susan Goff said, you just say, thank you for coming. And then, because you understand that there's work that you have to do, right? Yes, I don't any longer say it's not easy. because I know that when it's not easy, because I'm not using the method that I should use to go beyond it. So it doesn't take me more than seconds if it's a slight is superficial. And if the slight is deep-seated, I'll ask myself, what is happening here? What is my subconscious mind telling me? Is it telling me that I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling embarrassed, I'm feeling ashamed? Anything that is telling me, I say, thank you for coming. And then I deal with it, all right? Okay, so that's me. Anybody else want to say anything before? And is there's somebody in the chat that, oh, Sandra had to step away. Okay, all right, I'm here. I'm willing to address prayers directly. Anybody else want to say something? Vance, anybody else? I can't see. I think Dawn is here. Dawn, anything? Would you like to say something? No. Okay.
I've been just enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
It is quite interesting to look at it the way you've been expressing it.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it totally.
Yeah. Okay, Dawn, and I'm Joy.
When do you, may I, Reverend Sonia?
Yes, Leighton. Hi. I'm glad I'm
Hi,
seeing
hi.
more people now.
Yes.
Yeah. I can
Yes.
see them.
When do you, the empath in me, and I go out and I help wherever I see there is a need for help. I go out, and I'm now being told that I need to create a boundary. In other words, to allow each individual to come to their own truth, their own self, and not to take on the world, so to speak. And it oftentimes will become a burden. And it is something that I've been struggling with all my life. How do you deal with that? And I look at Jesus, and Jesus always asks someone, do you want to be healed? Yes? And in other words, it is always on the other person's responsibility, not his. Yes? And the question, and I'm thinking that just occurred to me, especially in this Holy Week. And I am saying to myself, how do I deal with that based on all that you have been saying? How do we deal with that? Could you help me?
Okay. I'm in little danger of reverting to a little psychologist teaching now. Whenever we find ourselves impelled to be always going out to do good, we need to ask ourselves, what am I after? How am I feeling about doing the need to do good? Is it, and to get the answer, I can't tell you, you have to ask yourself. Secondly, am I empowering the person who I'm doing good for by seeing them as filled with the power and presence of God? While I'm doing it, I have come from a time in my life when I was out there looking for sufferers to help, right? I was actually denying the truth about them in my mind while doing, right? Be impelled. You heard what Jeannie said. She said she does it spontaneously. So take a few maybe days and ask yourself the question in a very quiet of your mind, what it is that motivates my need to do. And don't force it. It's like visioning. What is Spirit's highest idea for me in my quest to do good? And the answer will come. Because sometimes we find ourselves by our early childhood conditioning need to do things for the sake of something other than the fact that we are impelled to share with someone who we see in a position to help themselves. If I am able to help somebody, then with that same power in me that makes me able to help that person is in the other person as well. And if you're going to help them without seeing them in that same exalted position, you're either going to be stuck helping them or running around trying to find people to help, because the spirit in you is a spirit in them. Doesn't mean that you don't help them, but you never help them from the point of view of their helplessness, right? Your helpfulness must be from a point of view of their help, their ability to help themselves, right?
In other words, Rev, what you're saying is that I have to bring them up rather than go down to where they are, but what I'm perceiving as to where they are.
That's right. You have to see them that way.
It would be a negative. Yes?
Yeah. Feed them, Jesus fed them. Remember? Jesus fed them.
Yes.
But you have to have the mind which is in Christ Jesus, which sees them as capable as he is. Whatever I can do, you can do likewise, and even greater things can do, right? In the process of doing it. And you're going to find yourself just helping people, and then you're amazed to see how lifted up they are, because it's, if you're joining with them in consciousness, and people are going to call you from all over the world and say, remember when, and you don't even remember when.
That is very true.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so
you're
true.
not going to feel tired, or you even second guess yourself. All right. Okay, I'm looking at it. Okay, yes, right. So, okay, any prayers? Thank you for that question. Man, that really stretched us, right? And that's a fact. You took me back to a time in my life when I used to walk from place to place trying to help people. And I'm helping them in a different way now in my mind. I see them powerful. I see them awesome. And I would like to feel that I have contributed to the collective consciousness, which has seen my Jamaican people rise up and be so confident and accomplished. I have no patients who have generations, 3-4 generations of success when they couldn't even find bread. And I have not touched them. I have not given them a penny. I've done nothing. I've just celebrated with them and exalted with them and praised them and rejoiced with them and watched them grow. Wow. Yep. Anyway, prayers.
Yes, Rev.
Yeah.
Treatment
Yes.
for health and also for love. Thank you.
Okay. Who's that, Dawn?
Dawn, yes.
Yes. Oh, God. Yes, I'm going to do love first because I'm tired of this. God is love. God is all there is. God is that creator, that presence that underlies everything that we know. Ever yielding of itself, its beauty, its power, its majesty, it's everything. It is that which has given of itself, has done, and continues to give of itself as through and for her. That it which is impelling her to feel the presence and feel the freedom which is within her, which comes from this power that is able to do all things for her. And she is amazed at how her life is growing and shining in this experience of connection with that deep source within her. She feels special, she feels important, but she knows that every other person on whom her gaze rests is special and important. They're sisters, they're brothers. They are Dawn being expressed as God in another form. And she begins to feel a greater and greater connection with everyone wherever she goes. She feels the exultant joy of being at the center of a love fest as she watches and feels the presence of God, just affirming everyone around her, including her. She knows, yes, I am the presence of God. I am in the presence of God. I'm expressing the presence of God as love. And love takes on any form. The law of mind takes that love within her heart and sculpts for her experiences which conform to what is highest and best for her in her life. No. Love comes in every form conceivable that is for her highest good and her greatest enjoyment. Yes, I give thanks for the presence of God as love, known by the name of Dawn. And I know that that presence is now heightened, deepened, and expanded as he joins the light bearers in a more deliberate and conscious way to bring about the collective experience of humanity, which knows love. Love, love, and knows that it is the presence of God. I release my words now and know lovingly bear witness to it as done. Thank you, God. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Rev.
So it is.
This is an affirmative prayer of wholeness and perfection. I know that that which underlies all creation, which manifests itself but is not absorbed by its creation, continues to pour itself into the forms of expressions itself, orchestrating and organizing perfect synchrony, harmony, and beauty. The life of dawn is the expression of God's wholeness and perfection, and it manifests itself in what we humans call health. It is that which allows this divine, perfect, harmonious colony of enlightened points of expression that comprise her body temple to be in complete harmony with itself, perfect communion, perfect communication, so that the entire body resonates and scintillates with the experience of energy, vitality, and every single organ, every system operates according to their divine purpose and continues to regenerate itself, refresh itself. And so the wholeness expresses as just a rejuvenation on a moment by moment, day by day basis. So there's ever youthfulness. There is ever that autonomy that exists within each and every cell. Yet it is the autonomy which does the work for which it has been created, while cooperating and collaborating with every other entity. I know that at that manifest level, every single particle of our being is being fed in that, through that field of infinite possibilities, that field at ground level of awareness, the mind of God, which created her out of its uniqueness, created each one of us out of its uniqueness, and continues to respond to that conscious awareness of itself, ever bringing more and more of its beauty, its loveliness into expression as what we call our lives and affairs. the mind, the body, the emotions. It all responds now to a spirit of wholeness, a spirit of wellness, a spirit of health. I release my words now, giving thanks that it is so.
So
And
it is
so
so.
it is.
So it is. So
And
it
so
is.
it is. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So it is. So it is.
We have a
So,
prayer request here from Leighton Jackson for divine guidance and inspiration to peace and success in all we do.
all right, so that's Leighton. Divine guidance. Say it again, Dr. James. Divine guidance for Leighton Jackson, for divine guidance and
Inspiration to peace and success
okay, all right.
in all we do.
Okay. Okay, that which created each one of us, all that we know is that which created Leighton and everything and everyone with whom he's connected and everyone he meets, either in his thoughts or in their presence. It is that within which all the information exists that allows him to tap into it, to relax, to let go and allow it to flow freely into his awareness and to feel the confidence and the certainty to act upon its impulse. It allows him to feel and know that that which created him out of itself for the purpose of expressing itself, and in so doing, bestowed upon him a great and lofty gift. It is that which guides and protects his path. And it is that which we call divine love. So he begins to know for certain that every thought that he has and every idea that he acts upon, this is the divine love within him that is assuring him that everything works together for his good. And so every experience that he sees, he looks deep within it and looks past it into the depth of it and knows that it is for his good. It is moving him towards the greater good that he seeks. So he sees every experience as a gift of God. And it reveals to him the secrets. It reveals to him its purpose. And so as he steps forward in that certainty and acts, knowing that that which created him surrounds him, blesses him, loves him, desires to express through and as him, he moves and has it being in a divine and awesome presence that is now acting up on his very thoughts, his desire to be inspired, to guide, to be guided and to move forward towards a greater peace than he has ever felt before, but which keeps expanding and rising. I speak my word in this moment to know that this divine being, this unique and wonderful divine being, feels the embrace of Godness and acts resolutely, confidently, embracing every change, every moment as a moment, a gift from the divine, which is enjoying itself through him, lifting him. He knows his unique place in this dispensation we call life, and he celebrates it. He looks at it as a divine gift and a great pleasure, a great opportunity, and it fills him with power, the awareness of his power. Thank you, God, for this life. Thank you, God, for the divine guidance. I know it is so. And
And
so
so
it
it
is.
is. And so it is.
So
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you.
Okay. I am past my time. So may Dr. Chima please help me to complete the rest of this service, right? By putting up
That-
my
That
announcements.
was the last prayer request. And I think Vance is gonna do that for me today.
Okay.
Vance.
Thank you. Okay, remember, oh, of course, Quiet Moments has gone on uninterrupted, right? With Reverend John Scott. It's at 6 a.m. in the mornings. And I know that it's a great inspiration for everybody. So please continue, remember, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Thank you. Next, 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 next. Okay, so sign up for classes, please. Our classes continue. I think Reverend Michael is in the middle of his classes, so it's easier for you to hop on now. I think the classes that's done on Wednesdays at 7. The classes on Thursdays are in far advance, but we'll soon be completing, and just sign up in confidence for the next set of series of classes. I know it is going to be just for you. Even if you don't know what the class will be yet, don't worry about it. Your presence there will reveal exactly what you need to be to have it to do. And trust me, the classes you learn from your classmates, they come sharing. I'm telling you, as a facilitator, I learn. Mm-hmm. Okay, so prayer power, we're still inviting you. It's much easier for you to come to prayer power now. It's an experience which you have to experience to know exactly what it is, because there's a lot of spontaneity. There's prayer, there's spontaneous prayer, there's affirmations, there's music. Please join us on Thursdays. It will be at 6 o'clock, right? And on last Thursdays, it's at 5, right? Right. So we're going to have Sunday live stream, but please, I'm not leaving out myself. A team of persons will be joining me on Good Friday to celebrate, just to celebrate. And we've been doing something very interesting and unusual. Good Friday at 10:30, and Sunday service will be at usual 9. But I would love you to join me in person. You'll be having an experience which is a little different from our usual services. It's a celebration. It is a celebration. It's a Good Friday. So it is all that is good will be expressed in joy. Mm-hmm. Okay, and of course, next week, as usual, our spiritual mind healing services. They have been an anchor in our church for so many years and has gone on uninterrupted throughout COVID. Thank you. I would like you all to know that your presence, your consciousness is the healing collective consciousness. You are here to give by virtue of your presence, even as I have received from you by you being here. Okay. All right, just remember too, yes, our church continues, right, to benefit from donations, and we would like you to just remember that whenever you have a moment, to just go into your Temple of Light webpage and donate, or what is the other place that you can go in person if you can. The webpage and what's the name of the other place where platform? There's another platform. All of this is on our webpage.
If you go on the donate page or the platform.
Donate, right. Okay. Yeah, man, continue to give. You're doing a wonderful work there. Thank you. All right, so let us do our love offering blessing. We are not in person, so we just put our hands over our chest. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. So it is. And prayer of our center. You can say it with me, even if we're not totally synchronized. It's lovely. The Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. Amen. Our church. The radiant light of, please unmute and say it with me. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates, awakens the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women. Truths of life which set free.
The light of
The light of God's love is growing and growing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God now established. And so it is. Everyone, let me just do a quick benediction. I know that the holy presence, which is God, that has brought us together this moment. It is that which continues to inspire, to bless, and to elevate us in its awareness of its presence as us, to deepen our connection with all humanity, so that we may together enlighten the human race. I know that that is the dharma of each one of us who come together in this space now. It is that which goes out and celebrates God's love in us. So we are so grateful. We bless ourselves. We love ourselves. We love the God presence of love within us. And we give thanks for it. Know that all is well. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Please join me on Good Friday. I have some nice surprises for you. No prizes, just